First thing we have to do is to make our templates for the quilt. Very simple. So we're going to be making 4 triangle squares. So the square is going to look like that. So 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles. We need 9-inch triangles, 6-inch triangles, and 3-inch triangles. Now I'm talking about the overall size of the box. Okay, so start with the biggest one. So I'm going to draw a line. This is graph paper. It's 1/4 inch graph paper. So this is paper that each square on the grid is a 1/4 inch square. Oop. Okay, so I'm starting at the 1 because my end of my ruler is a little rounded off. So we know that these 2 marks represent the end of 9 inches. Okay. Okay, now what I want is to draw a line from this point through each square where it crosses and meets up. See what I mean? We're bisecting those little grid squares. Okay, we're going to do the same thing here. And what that means is this is a right angle, a 90-degree angle there. Okay. Now we need a 6-inch one. The finished squares will be evenly 3, 6, and 9 inches, but we need to add a seam allowance to each shape. So I will be adding 1/4 inch, which is the standard seam allowance for a quilt patch. So I'm just laying the 1/4 inch line there. There, and then the last line should be even with the next line in the grid paper. So once I have these all drawn out, I'm going to glue the paper, or rather just sort of tack it down. It doesn't have to be super glued. I didn't quite get that long enough. So I'm going to glue this onto the back of a paper tablet, or you know, maybe you have a gift box laying around. So this one is going to go slightly off the grid. and as well on this end, okay? Somebody's bringing me a cup of tea. Thank you. You're a lovely man. Got no complaints about that. Okay, so then I would glue it down to paper, and then using a knife, an X-Acto blade, and a ruler, I've cut these out. Okay, that's the only pattern piece we're going to need. All right, the next step is we're going to tear apart a shirt. All right, next up, let's talk about deconstructing shirts. I bought this one at the thrift store. It was Blue Tag week. So I paid $1.50. I try to look for bigger sizes because, of course, that gives you bigger bang for your buck. This is only it's an 8. So it's small, but it's very long. So it's almost 36 inches long. Another problem is there's some pleated areas that won't be easy to use, but again, there's a whole heck of a lot of fabric beneath that. I'm going to start by taking off the buttons, and I've got a jar here, and just for fun, I'm going to save my buttons that I cut from shirts for this project and see how full it gets. So, I mean, it's going to have condition issues because, I mean, it got to the 75% off week. And it does have some condition issues, which makes it perfect for recycling. If I undid this, I'd be able to see the thread better. It's also, one of the, fast fashion brands. So the construction's not going to be super luxe. If you're thrifting shirts, or maybe you've put a call out to friends and family, I'll take any cotton shirts. Oh, I forgot to say, you want cotton. So this doesn't say it's 100% cotton in this tag, but if you look down at near the bottom of the side, you can see it says 100% cotton. And an extra button. That's tight. And this one, it's missing a button, so it's pinned closed. It's pretty bent. I'm going to save that too. Okay. Have a slurp of coffee. Now, in case you thought I was crazy, you're very near the truth. I am not going to unpick the seams. I'm just going to go in with scissors. And cut sometimes this back yoke will have a label stitched on it, you know, some of the better quality shirts. It wouldn't have a tag flipping and flopping. And I have been known to leave those tags and incorporate them into the quilt as well. Some bigger collars, I would cut this apart, but I mean, once I put that on the straight of grain, I'm not even going to get one triangle out of that widest part, so that's garbage. I'll cut the back yoke out. The sleeves and the back of the shirt are where you're going to get the big hunks of yardage, practically yardage on this shirt. Yeah, so as I was saying, I tend to look for the big shirts first so I can get the most bang for my buck. So men's XXX. These aren't my best fabric scissors, but that's okay. So again, I can't get even a, well, if I was desperate, I could get one out of there. So I'm just sliding my blade of my scissor under one layer. Where this is top stitched, I'm just cutting right next to that line of stitching. If there's a pocket on the chest, I will unpick that, because that can be, you know, quite a lot of fabric there underneath. And but if it's a particularly small pocket, I might be tempted to leave it and incorporate it into a block if I can. I have definitely used like baby shirts if they're the right pattern. I will use all kinds of shades of blue. Of course, this project doesn't have to be blue. In fact, when I told Doug I was going to be making another shirt quilt, he asked me to do green. And I thought, oh, not that I don't like green. I'm a fan of green. Better put that up there for Elizabeth. This is where the buttons are sewn. Now I'm going to go around this pleated part. I will be disposing of the pleat. I have also many times stitched large rectangles or squares that I can get from shirts and piece together the back of a quilt. I'll have to show you that. The shirts don't have to be just plain blue and white stripe. I've used plaids. I have used colors, so like a blue and a pale yellow, or that one I'm trashing. I don't know why I was fussing. This is the side with the buttonholes. Sort of easier to see where I'm cutting with the light side of the fabric showing, so I think I'll stick with that strategy. I once deconstructed a shirt on stage when I did a presentation at a quilt guild. Ooh, gotta be a dozen years ago now. In Guelph. I made lots and lots of quilts from repurposed shirts. Okay, I'm going to cut up the side seam. In fact, I used to have a blog many years ago. And I had a pattern. Gosh, this would have been 2008, 2009, 10, in that era. And the blog was called Life is a Stitch. And it's been gone for a long time. But I still get emails every once in a while asking for the pattern. It was called 7 Shirts, 5 Steps, 1 Quilt. And it was an entire quilt. I still have one. That we use all the time. It's on the couch. So I find Doug all bundled up underneath it from time to time. But I still get emails. Yeah, can I have the pattern? Do you have a pattern? Nope, I don't. That one I did not stitch. I didn't quilt it. I actually machine stitched buttons, all the buttons I'd cut off shirts over the years. So it was like a tied quilt, but instead of ties, it was buttons. I'll have to try to remember to give you a picture of that. I think I'm just going to shut off the camera and finish deconstructing this. Well, actually, you can see in the armpit where the dye has spread around. So I'll cut out the armpit part. Is there anything else I wanted to point out? Sometimes men's cuffs are quite large and you can get quite a hunk of fabric out of there. But sometimes there's interfacing that is adhered to one or the other layers of a cuff that isn't very useful. Anyway, I think you get the idea. So I'm just going to cut out the seams, open up these parts, and then I will be ironing them, and then I'll show you how to lay out your fabric pieces to get the best use. Okay, I have gotten all of the big 9-inch boxes or triangles that I can. I've got some scraps here. So again, I am cutting a line right along that blue, dark blue. Sometimes these get pulled a little wonky. Okay, so this one, I'll never get another triangle along a blue line, but I don't mind the idea of cutting a few weird ones. They're not necessarily going to match what the overall design plan is, but I'm still going to square it up with a blue line. And then when these get sewn together with the stripes going towards the center, they'll make a different sort of effect. This one. this one. Maybe fold that in half. Maybe I should have done this way. Would I be able to get two? No. I guess it doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to cut down right down to the tiniest bit, if I can get a triangle out of it. And it's with a straight of grain. Like I wouldn't like just plunk it like that because there's no straight edge. And you need a straight edge to keep things squared up into boxes, right? So I'll just finish up with these scraps and then I will drag over my sewing machine and we'll see if I can cord that. I don't know. We're going to find out though. Yeah, that's too small. Okay, so this one does have a straight edge. Can't see my pencil line anymore. Okay, good. I couldn't move my machine over because the plugs are all underneath and behind cupboards and things, and I thought, nope, not going to do it. So I've put my 1/4" foot on here, and I'm going to start from the 90-degree tip. I'm not going to cut it. I'm going to just assembly line sew this. And you don't want to play with this edge too much because it is a bias cut edge. And it can quickly get warped. You can pin these if you like. I will pin when I do the halves, just to make sure that the points are completely matched in the center. I've had this machine, probably 20 years. Okay, I'm going to get through all of these triangles to make half triangles, or half squares, I guess. And then I will press them with the seams to one side. So I won't open up the seam. I will just press it so that the two seams are on one side or the other. I'll show you what that looks like when we're done, and then we'll do the next seam. All right. Okay, these are all of the parts that didn't have partners, unpartnered parts. So I will save these, and they'll get used up with other leftover parts. I don't think I mentioned that when you're piecing quilts, you do not have to backstitch. In fact, it's better if you don't backstitch. So when I'm going to press these, I'm going to pull these first couple stitches apart like that, and then press them down like that. So you're making a little square in the center, and that reduces the bulk at that point where there's the four seams meeting. So I forget what that's called. This is one that's a couple of goofy ones put together. Let's find one that isn't a goofy one. Here's a good one. See, no. Okay. This one, pull that apart, and then I will press it with a hot iron, and then when you flip it over, it's kind of got this what do I want to say? It's not an illusion. Well, it's kind of an illusion. So that's my next job, is to press all of these open. Well, not open, but with rotating seams, I guess. Okay. Then my final part, the final part, I will trim these up. In quilting terms, I'm going to square them up. So I will cut off any like these extra bits off and make it 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches for a finished size of 3 by 3. This one I will do the same thing. Open it up, fan those seams around, and then I will square this up and make it 6.5 by 6.5. So when it's sewn together, it'll be 6 by 6. And then this last one, this last size, I mean, I will square this up to 9 9.5 by 9.5, so that the finished size, finished meaning when it's sewn to other blocks, the finished block size will be 9 inches square. So I will do some pressing, and I will finish up with the chore of squaring these all up, and then come back and we'll do a final count, see how many we got out of that one shirt. So I like to keep my finished blocks in a project bag, and as the collection grows I'll put more in here. I use these all the time, so this is some stuff that I put in a project bag that I took with me on vacation when I was had the little girls getaway with Catherine back in October. Clearly I got nothing done, but it's all ready to go for the next time. So I have a couple of spare project bags. They've got a zipper, and it's net so you can see through it and see what's inside. I like that they're flexible, and you don't have to worry about breaking them like the plastic ones. Anyway, so that's today's giveaway, is these 2 project bags. If you want to enter the draw for today, you need to subscribe to my channel, like the video, and leave a comment below. All right, that's it for today. Take care. Come back again soon. We'll have more glimmers to talk about. And yeah, hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.